key results are in measuring the influence of America's 3-year National Eucharistic Revival that helped to reinvigorate understanding of the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. The revival began in 2022 as an effort by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops to engage more fully in evangelization and to promote a deepening of the faith among Catholics across America. Clergy, staff, and parishioners could participate both locally at the parish level and in national events. Highlights of that included the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage from 4 corners of the United States and the National Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis in the summer of 2024. A revival impact report was released this week. Its survey of Catholics found the revival had very positive outcomes. At the parish level, 1 year later, there has been a noticeable increase in Eucharistic adoration and parishioner participation in confession. Individuals report a renewed personal focus on the Eucharist itself and a higher comfort level about evangelizing and encouraging others to become more deeply involved in their faith. And the report suggests a future revival could expand reach further with increased support and additional outreach to heighten revival awareness for those in the pews. To discuss the impact report, we are joined now by the chairman of the National Eucharistic Congress, Bishop Andrew Cozzens. He was an integral planning partner in the 3-year revival and is on board now as the bishops look to the future to try to capture and build on this revival enthusiasm. Your Excellency, thank you for being here and being with us. While it is impossible to know for certain all the seen and the unseen good fruit from the revival, we do have these new findings. Were you heartened by what has been found, and what especially stood out to you from this report?
I was extremely heartened by what has been found in our impact study that we did. And, I had a sense that the revival had a big impact on people and especially on our church. But it was great to see that confirmed by the data and to see some of the actual statistics. I think the thing that most stood out to me is that we accomplished our goal. Our goal was really to bring about a missionary conversion of Catholics, right? We wanted Catholics to come together and to experience more deeply a profound love for Jesus in the Eucharist, and then from that to be sent out on mission. And our study showed that, like, anyone who attended one of our National Eucharistic Pilgrimage or National Eucharistic Congress said they were 50% more likely to do outreach, to share their faith, to do some act of service. So it really showed that there was that kind of central impact that we desired, as well as many other things.
Right, and strong gains in Eucharistic devotion, adoration, participation, all good news there. And Bishop, nearly half of the clergy who were surveyed said that they felt more encouraged since the start of the revival. It seems that the Eucharistic revival, including the Eucharistic Congress, was a real morale booster for members of our clergy, with the clergy largely supportive of it. Why is this important for our church, that our shepherds take this enthusiasm for the Eucharist to their flocks?
Well, as we all know, the role that the bishops and the priests play in our church is central. And it was one of the stunning things was the high percentage of buy-in we got, especially from bishops and priests. And priests even saying, they feel like their bishops were fully supportive and fully engaged. And I was so grateful when I saw that priests found it encouraging. They were encouraged by this opportunity to focus on the Eucharist. I know so much more preaching and encouragement about Eucharistic devotion happened in our parishes during this time. But the statistic that really encouraged me was that 70% of priests said that they personally grew in their own devotion to the Eucharist, that they were doing, 50% said they were doing more time in adoration because of the Eucharistic revival. So what a beautiful thing, right? If we know that holiness spreads, and that was always the kind of line about St. John Vianney, was the people around him said, well, we have to be holy because our priest is holy. So if our priests are encouraged and they're drawing closer to Jesus in the Eucharist, that's going to help our people so much, and it's going to help our church so much. And so to me, that was one of the most encouraging things about the study.
Absolutely. Well, one of the challenges that the National Eucharistic Congress event faced was a lack of awareness for a large part of the Catholic population, and the reality that it is difficult to reach people beyond the already engaged and in the know Catholic. Any thoughts on how to address that for the next Congress in 2029?
Yeah, of course, we'll keep pushing out on those edges of trying to reach the people who aren't engaged, which is really the great goal.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing I think is that that's going to happen through people, right? That most people are evangelized through relationship, and so as we continue to strengthen the core of our faith and those people who are committed, and they begin to draw closer to Jesus in the Eucharist, what the study showed is that they get on fire and then they start to spread that fire, right? And so it's the way Jesus worked himself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus certainly did preach to crowds, but most of the time he spent with his 12 apostles and with those people who were with him. And because if he could convert and strengthen them, then they could go out and convert the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the goal of the whole Eucharistic movement that we have now, is strengthening those people, so that they can become the witnesses that we're called to be. But you do find the stories, of people who encountered Jesus on a pilgrimage, or um, many people who came to the Eucharistic Congress, maybe not as completely on fire Catholics, but
Mm-hmm.
left as an on fire Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I think that'll continue to happen. And it's beautiful to think about what happens in this movement over generations, right? If we have this Eucharistic Congress, like I hope we will, every 4 years, what does that do after 5 or 6 of them, you know?
Right. We don't have to wait decades and decades for the next one, fortunately. Bishop, we're seeing the fruits of the revival live on already with a new National Eucharistic Pilgrimage route, the St. Francis Xavier Cabrini route, launching this summer from St. Augustine, Florida, in honor of America's 250th year. Your reaction to this initiative, Your Excellency, and can you offer a word of encouragement for American Catholics to consider participating?
Yeah, I think it's such a great providential opportunity to celebrate the gift of our country, right? The gift, and really the gift that the Catholic faith has had on our country, because we're going to start this pilgrimage in St. Augustine, Florida, which is the site of the very first Catholic Mass in our country. And then we're going to do the whole Eastern Seaboard. We're going to hit almost all of the original 13 colonies. We'll go all the way up to Maine. We'll be in Massachusetts. And then we'll end on the 4th of July in Philadelphia, where the celebrations will happen. And so it's a beautiful way for us as Catholics to give thanks to God for our country, but also to witness to our country about the founding principles, which we believe are so important, about uh, the love of neighbor, and how to live in a country where we actually do show our love for others in a profoundly Christian way. And so I hope that many people will come and participate, really as a way to pray for our country, but also to witness to our country of the joy and the beauty of our Catholic faith.
Absolutely. A lot to look forward to there. Bishop Andrew Cozzens, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. God bless you.